If you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and those things, I don't know why anybody thinks that it's controversial that they all need to go. And that's the reason why we lost. That's one of them. That's one of why we lost.
Is it possible that John Fetterman has done it again? The senator from Pennsylvania seems to be the sole voice of reason in the Democratic Party, and he appeared with Alabama Senator Republican Katie Britt, bipartisan appearance on Bret Baier's special report on Fox News, and we've got three major tidbits from him that show that he actually seems to be the most reasonable man in the room, despite his creative choice of wardrobe.
Like, it's really common sense. And I'd like to remind everybody that we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of migrants here illegally that have convicted of crimes.
So what they're talking about here is the Laken Riley bill. This was a bill that passed the House with 159 Democrats voting against it. What did the bill say? It's in Laken Riley's name. She's the young woman who was murdered by a Venezuelan criminal illegal immigrant who had a run-in with the law when he was up in New York. He was arrested for theft. He was let go, and then he was able to go down to Georgia and perpetrate that horrible murder against Laken Riley. So this bill is very specific. It says if you're in the country illegally and you break the law, then you're dealt with. You're dealt with by the federal authorities. And even more importantly, if you are a local elected official, a local jurisdiction, and you have pushed sanctuary policies that protect these criminals, then you are eligible for being sued by the victim's family. That's a really good idea. That's a really good law. 159 Democrats voted against it. Here's John Fetterman. He is actually co-sponsoring the bill in the Senate because he thinks it's a good idea too.
And why? I don't know why. Who wants to defend that, to allow them to remain in our nation? That. And now, if you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and those things, I don't know why anybody thinks that it's controversial that they all need to go.
Do you think that this was one of, if not the biggest issue for this election?
Well, I think if we can't, there's 47 of us in the Senate, and if we can't pull up with 7 votes, if we can't get at least 7 out of 47, and if we can't, then that's the reason why we lost. That's one of them. That's one of why we lost.
Yeah, that's right. He gets it. He understands. I mean, listen, I'm a Republican. I don't want the Democrats to get it. I want the Democrats to continue walking down the path of ignorance and continue to lose elections. But at the same time, I would like to get some good things done in this country. And if it takes 60 votes, I would like, just like John Fetterman, I would like at least 7 Democrats to understand this and vote with Republicans. So this is a bill that could be sitting on Donald Trump's desk on day one. So Donald Trump on day one, which is what, 10 days from now, 11 days from now, he's going to do a whole lot of executive orders, just like Joe Biden did. And his executive orders will, for the most part, reverse what Biden did and put things back on path, Keystone Pipeline and securing the border and catch and release and drill, baby, drill and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be beautiful if Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, and John Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, if they could actually work on some bills like this one? Like, the House has done their job. They've passed it. It's in the Senate's hands. John Thune, what are you waiting for? Pass this thing in the Senate now. Put the Democrats on their heels. Force them to go on the record, like John Fetterman, that you're okay with illegal aliens committing crimes and then staying in this country so they can go ahead and murder the next Laken Riley. Put them on the spot and make them vote on this right now. And if you can pass it in the Senate, wouldn't it be a beautiful thing? And show the entire nation that Republicans are really good at governing and getting crap done. That when Donald Trump walks down Pennsylvania Avenue after getting sworn in at the Capitol and he enters his office in the White House, that he can sit down and actually sign a bill into law because Congress in these 16 days have actually gotten some crap done. Wouldn't that be great? Now I'm just dreaming. I don't know. I'm kidding myself. All right, Fetterman didn't stop there. He was also asked specifically about everybody freaking out over Donald Trump's statements about Greenland and the Panama Canal. We showed you from the press conference yesterday. We showed you Don Jr. landed in Greenland and all these discussions about Greenland. And of course, everyone's screaming. Their heads are exploding. And I got to love Fetterman's approach to this. Not only is he like, you know, everybody chill, okay? Chill out. Stop freaking out about everything. But also he says, on the face of it, you look at Greenland, I mean, Trump's got a point. Take a look.
Go ahead.
Can I talk about like there's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, you know, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it, and you know, whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too. $50 million, I think it was. It was it was referred to as Seward's Folly, and now that was Alaska now. So, I mean, you know, open to having all kinds of conversations as well. And now I don't think it's not helpful to freak out, but some things might work out, some may not, but that's part of an ongoing dialogue. But he hasn't even taken office in 2 weeks. And, you know, we really need to pace ourselves if we're going to freak out over every last tweet or every last conversation or press conference. But
that's good. That's a good one, John. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, you know, we are here to work together.
Yeah.
And some things you can agree or disagree. But
that's great. I mean, and again, and first of all, I'm glad he's looking at this intelligently and with an eye on history in the past. Well, he's going to purchase. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. But Alaska is the perfect example. They did call it Seward's Folly. This was the 19th century, late 19th century, when Secretary of State Seward made a deal with Russia, purchased the territory that is known as Alaska. They said, what are you doing? What are we buying that for? That's ridiculous. We don't need it. We don't need it. Alaska was huge. They found gold in Alaska. We still drill for oil in Alaska. It's an amazing natural resources with fish, freshwater fishing. Just unbelievable. And the beauty of it, and may I also say, and I'll say it again, manifest destiny. Look it up. I don't know where America lost its mojo when we were astride the world. I think that we were intimidated. We were bullied by the pencil neck geek, smart set intellectuals coming out of graduate school with tweed jackets and elbow patches. After World War II, when we literally saved the entire planet and we showed that we could fight a war, a high-level war on every continent and win, we mastered our industry. We mastered our personnel. We had the leadership in our generals and our military training. And suddenly we stopped. Now, I'm not saying we should conquer things, but in some way we were sort of shamed into this idea at the moment where we had dominance around the world that we shouldn't talk to other nations like, well, would you like to be, you know, a protected territory of the United States of America? Because that would be good for you. It would be good for us. And it would actually help this nation and help the world through world peace. I'm sorry. I know it's a quaint notion, but I think more countries aligned with and connected with the United States of America makes for a more peaceful world and a more functional world. And instead of everybody from these third world nations flooding into our shores, and we get nothing from it other than heartache and headache and draining our accounts and our treasury, how about instead we make alliances with countries where instead of them coming here, we actually make these alliances with countries where we can help you out with the things that we do well, and then we can tap some of the resources in your country. It's win-win. And Fetterman gets it. It's very intelligent, actually. I heard recently somebody say that Donald Trump looks at these things as what's mine is mine and what's yours is open for negotiation. And I think that's how America should approach things. God knows it's how China's been approaching things. I also love the fact that Fetterman was like, could we please just stop freaking out over every little tweet and every little utterance? This is going to be a long 4 years. We're trying to work together. And if you continue to just freak out over every little thing, it's going to be exhausting. We're going to go nuts. He was also asked about Trump's nominees, his cabinet nominees, and a couple of things were revealed here. I want you to listen. I'm going to interrupt this halfway through to point something out because I don't want you to miss it, and then we'll let it play all the way through.
Is Tulsi Gabbard one of the nominees that you could vote for?
Well, I met with her. In fact, I think I've met with virtually all of them, and the ones that I haven't, they're on my schedule. RFK and Governor Nome. So I'm happy to meet with all of them, and that's also part of this. I don't know why that was controversial. I mean, I got a lot of blowback just even to meet with them, and to me, I see that as just doing my job.
Yeah. So I just want to emphasize this. Think about it. John Fetterman, a Democrat senator from Pennsylvania, has been getting blowback, as he puts it, and that it's been somehow seen as controversial because he's met with Tulsi Gabbard, he's met with Pete Hegseth, he's met with Kash Patel, he's met with the president's nominees. That's literally the Senate's job. The Senate has the advice and consent role in the Constitution to confirm the president's nominees, and Fetterman's getting blowback from his pals in his party and in the media because he's actually talked to the people that he needs to vote on. That's where the Democrats are right now in this town. All right, now we'll let it finish.
And I'm going to have a conversation with anyone that would like to have a conversation with me. And if someone believed everything that's been written or said about me was true, I mean, you can't possibly know me, or I think I could know her either, just based on someone read. But I want to sit down and have a conversation, and I'm really glad that I've done that. And some of these nominees I'm going to vote for already. In fact, whether it's our colleague Rubio, Representative Stefanik, or even Sean Duffy, I expect to vote for him as well too, and Brooke Rollins for agriculture.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them I can say right now here on Fox. I'm going to vote for them. But there's others, but that we're going to go through the process. But I'm open to hear from everyone, and I don't know why that's controversial. And I also would like to remind everyone on the Democratic side, that's the way democracy works. Trump won, and now they're going to run the table, and so they get to pick those kinds of people. And if you don't have to agree with all of it, but I want to find a way to work together on a bunch of them.
And I want to.
All right. So what one quibble? It's how a constitutional republic works. It's like Democrats are fixated on this word democracy because I think they think that because they call themselves the Democrat Party, that in some way, if they keep saying we're a democracy, that they have some sort of like grandfathered ownership of our nation, because we're not a democracy. And it's like you can't retrain these people. It's a constitutional republic. That's how whatever. He is right. And by the way, he says, I don't know why this is controversial. It's controversial because the left has lost their collective minds, or what's left of them. Republicans, sadly, don't act this way. Lloyd Austin was confirmed as Joe Biden's Secretary of Defense by a 95-2 vote. 95 votes. You think any of Trump's nominees are going to get 95 votes, even Marco Rubio? Of course not. It's amazing. But I gotta say, I mean, that the Fetterman continues to impress. He continues to speak his mind. He continues to make sense and be logical and be intelligent and actually seem reasonable. I don't see how he lasts as a Democrat with those kind of personality traits. Increased tariffs on our trade partners, tax cuts, regulation changes. Learn why gold is a viable diversification tactic now more than ever. Birch Gold, the only gold company I endorse, is releasing their ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era, and it's got a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. To get your free copy along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold, text my name, Larry, to 989898. Here are the facts. The national debt continues to increase. Our interest payments on the national debt continue to increase. Gold is still your hedge against a weakened dollar, and Birch Gold is still the company I recommend to help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Text Larry, L-A-R-R-Y, to 989898. Get your free copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. There's no obligation, only information. And I love endorsing Birch Gold because they've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Thousands of happy customers. You too can turn to Birch Gold. Text Larry to the number 989898. Do it today.